the biker who found a broken family and gave them something they never had. ***. He walked into their life by accident, but what he gave them changed their destiny forever. Now, the full story begins. ***. The sun was dipping behind the old Milwaukee warehouses when Reaper, the president of the local Hells Angels chapter, throttled down his Harley and stopped at a tiny gas station on the outskirts of town. His leather vest glowed under the flickering fluorescent lights, and the engine crackled beneath him, cooling from the long ride. He wasn't supposed to stop. Here he wasn't supposed to see them, but fate has a strange way of placing the right hearts in front of the right eyes at the exact right moment. As Reaper stepped off his bike, he heard something, a faint sound, like a half-choked sob, coming from behind the building. He listened again. It wasn't the wind. It wasn't an animal, that it was a child. Reaper slowly walked around the back, boots crunching the gravel. There, under a broken streetlight, sat a thin little boy, no older than 8. His knees were pulled to his chest, his face streaked with dust and tears. His small backpack had a torn zipper, and one of his shoelaces was missing. But what struck Reaper the most was the fear in his eyes. "Hey kid," Reaper said softly, kneeling down. "You lost." The boy didn't answer at first. He stared at Reaper's vest, at the skull and wings, the kind of image adults warned their kids about. But instead of fear, the boy whispered, Are you one of the angels?" Reaper nodded slowly. "Yeah, name's Reaper." "What's yours?" "Leo," the boy murmured. "Where's your mom or dad?" Leo swallowed hard. Inside, fighting again, that hit Reaper like a punch to the gut. He should have walked away, should have minded his own business. But something in Leo's voice, something cracked, something tired, pulled him closer. "Stay here," Reaper said. "I'll check." He walked toward the back door of the gas station, and before he even entered, he could hear it, shouting. Objects crashing, a woman crying, a man cursing with a rage Reaper knew all too well. He stepped inside. A woman in her late 20s, exhausted, scared, and shaking, was shielding a little girl behind her. A man, drunk, aggressive, face red with anger, was yelling so loudly the shelves were vibrating. Reaper's shadow swallowed the doorway. The man turned. "What the hell do you want?" Reaper stepped forward. His voice dropped into a tone that could freeze hell itself. "I heard enough. Back away from the woman." The man laughed, the kind of laugh of someone who had no idea death might be standing in front of him, wearing a leather vest, or what. "You bikers think you own the world." Reaper didn't answer. He didn't need to. The man stepped toward him. Reaper lifted a hand, slow, deliberate, and placed it against the man's chest. "Son," Reaper whispered, "I've fought wars you can't even imagine. Don't make this worse than it already is." But the man shoved him. Just one shove. 1 second later, Reaper had him pinned to the counter so fast the guy didn't even see the movement. "Listen," Reaper growled, "I don't hit men who can't fight straight. But you ever lay a finger on her or those kids again, Reaper?" A small voice interrupted. He turned. It was Leo, standing in the doorway, clutching his sister's hand. The woman, weak but brave, spoke with trembling lips. "He's not always like this. He gets angry. Life's been hard." Reaper looked into her eyes. He saw bruises. He saw fear. He saw years of pain. And he saw a family breaking apart in slow motion. The drunk man finally understood who he was up against. His arrogance dissolved into something else. Not respect, but pure, primal fear. He backed away, muttering curses. He didn't dare speak louder. Reaper took the kids. Outside. Leo grabbed his hand. "You're not gonna leave us, right?" Reaper's throat tightened. He knelt, placing a hand on Leo's shoulder. "Young man," he whispered, "Hell's Angels don't leave people behind." The mother walked out, wiping tears, her voice breaking. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry you had to see that. We don't have anywhere else to go." And Reaper, a man built of scars, steel, and more regret than he could count, made a decision he wasn't supposed to make. "Come with me," he said. The mother gasped. "What? We can't." "You can," Reaper said firmly. "And you will. Pack your things. You're not going back to that man." "Why?" Leo asked softly. "Why would you help us?" Reaper stood, looking at the mother, then the kids. "Because once," he said, voice cracking, "someone saved me the same way." ***. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to Bikers Hype, like and share this video with your friends. And if you love Hell's Angels, prove your love. Help us reach our 1,000 subscribers target. The soft rumble of Reaper's Harley rolled across the sleeping highway as the tiny broken family sat in the back of a pickup truck one of the club members brought. Reaper led the way on his Harley, the headlight cutting a golden path through the night. Leo sat between his mother and his sister, his small hands gripping the edges of a blanket they'd been given. The girl, Lily, barely 5 years old, leaned on her mother's shoulder, eyelids heavy from crying. None of them spoke. The mother's name, which Reaper only learned after they had packed a handful of clothes into one torn duffel bag, was Nora. She hadn't told him her story. She didn't need to. Her eyes told everything. Years of fear, years of staying for the kids, years of hoping things would change, years of being disappointed by the man she trusted. Reaper had seen that look before, in the mirror, long ago, when he still had a family of his own, and that was the part he didn't talk about. The reason he always rode alone, the reason the club respected his silence. Arriving at the CLUBHUSE, when they reached the Hells Angels compound, the gatekeeper, a tattooed giant named Tank, opened the steel gate without a word. The motorcycles parked in rows gleamed under the security lights. Nora pulled the kids close. She'd heard the rumors about bikers. She'd heard the horror stories. But tonight, a biker was the only man who had protected them. Tank walked over, his boots leaving dents in the dirt. He looked like a monster, until he knelt down in front of little Lily and gently held out a lollipop. "You're safe here, princess," he rumbled. Lily blinked at him, then slowly took the candy dot, and for the first time that night, she smiled. Nora nearly broke into tears again. Reaper stepped off his Harley and signaled Tank to bring blankets. The rest of the club emerged. Ace, Bulldog, Chains, River, tough men, scarred men, loyal men. But seeing the bruises on Nora's arms, seeing the small trembling hands of Leo and Lily, their faces changed. River muttered, "Who did this?" Reaper shook his head. "Doesn't matter. They're staying here tonight." Nora whispered, "We can't stay here. This is too much. We don't want trouble." Reaper placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "You're not trouble. You're family tonight." She closed her eyes, a tear sliding down her cheek, because nobody had ever called her that in years. Inside the safe ROM, they guided Nora and the kids into a side building, one used for members in need. Warm lights, clean blankets, a small heater humming in the corner. Nora brushed her fingers along the walls. "This is nice," she whispered. Reaper pulled out some food sandwiches, bottled water, chips for the kids. Leo stared at Reaper's vest again. "Are you like a superhero?" he asked quietly. Reaper chuckled. "No, kid. Superheroes wear capes. We wear leather." "But you saved us," Leo insisted. "Superheroes save people." Reaper froze. No one had ever called him that, not in his entire life. He cleared his throat and looked away. "Just doing what's right." As they ate, the kids slowly relaxed. Lily curled up with her blanket, finally drifting to sleep. Leo leaned against his mother, half awake, half afraid that this was all a dream. Nora watched Reaper from across the room. "Why did you do this?" she whispered. Reaper sat down heavily on a wooden chair, staring at his hands. "Because once, I had a family too, and I failed them." Nora frowned softly. "How?" Reaper swallowed. "My wife died. My daughter stopped talking to me. I drowned myself in bikes and highways, because it was easier than feeling anything." The room fell silent. Nora whispered, "I'm sorry." Reaper shrugged. "You don't need to be. I just saw myself in you, saw my daughter in Leo and Lily." Nora's voice trembled. "But we're strangers." Reaper looked up, eyes filled with a raw, rare honesty. "Strangers don't cry behind gas stations, hoping someone finally cares." Nora pressed a hand to her mouth as tears streamed down. For the first time in years, someone understood. Someone saw her. Someone cared. Leo's question that broke Ariapara's Reaper prepared to leave the room so they could rest. Leo tugged on his vest. "Reaper." "Yeah, kid." Leo hesitated, voice barely a whisper. "Are you gonna be here in the morning?" Reaper felt his heart twist. He'd heard that question once before from his own daughter, the night he walked out. Back then, he said nothing. Back then, he left tonight. He knelt in front of Leo, placing both hands on the boy's shoulders. "I'll be here," he said firmly. "I'm not going anywhere." Leo nodded slowly, tears filling his eyes. Nora watched silently, her heart aching, not from fear, but from the strange new feeling of being safe. Outside the bikers, Tielka River approached Reaper outside, lighting a cigarette. "So what's the plan?" he asked. Reaper exhaled. They stay until they're ready. River raised an eyebrow. That gonna cause problems? Reaper's jaw tightened. That man touches them again, we'll handle it. River smirked. I figured you'd say that. Ace stepped forward. Reaper, you sure about this? This isn't like you. Reaper looked toward the safe room window where Nora sat with the kids. No, he murmured. It's not like me at all. Then he said something that made the entire club look at him differently. But maybe it's time I changed. The night ends, but their connection doesn't back inside. Nora tucked Lily's blanket gently. The heater hummed softly, casting warm orange light on the small room. She turned to Leo. Try to sleep, baby. Leo whispered. Did the angels save us, Mom? Nora pulled him close. Yes, sweetheart, they did. Then Leo whispered what she feared most. Is Dad gonna come back? Nora swallowed, tears burning her throat. I won't let him hurt us anymore. Reaper heard those words from the doorway. He hadn't meant to listen, but he did, and something inside him, something long dead, cracked open. It wasn't pity, it wasn't sympathy. It was responsibility, for the first time in years. Reaper felt like a father again. ***, before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to Bikers Hype. Like and share the video with your friends. And if you love Hell's Angels, then prove your love and help us reach our 1,000 subscribers target. The morning sun rose over the Hell's Angels compound, painting soft gold across the metal bikes lined up like soldiers. Reaper was already awake, sitting on a wooden bench outside the safe house, sipping black coffee. He didn't sleep, not because he was worried, but because for the first time in years, he felt responsible for something other than the club. He felt like he had a purpose again. As the door creaked open, little Lily stepped out, rubbing her eyes, hair messy, holding her blanket. Reaper, she mumbled. Reaper smiled softly. Morning, Princess. She shuffled toward him, and without hesitation climbed into his lap, like she had known him all her life. Reaper froze, then gently placed a hand on her back. Nora watched from the doorway, one hand covering her mouth. She had never seen Lily trust a man this quickly, not even her own father. Leo stepped out next, eyes brightening when he saw him. You really stayed, Leo said. Reaper smirked. Told you I would. Nora stepped outside, arms crossed but face warm. Good morning, Reaper nodded. You sleep okay? Nora looked at him with a softness he didn't expect. Yes, because for the first time, I didn't go to bed afraid. Those words hit Reaper harder than any punch or bullet he'd ever taken. The decision they didn't explicit after breakfast. Reaper took a walk with Nora around the clubhouse yard. The gravel crunched beneath their feet. You don't owe us anything, Nora said. We can leave today. I don't want your club getting dragged into our mess. Reaper stopped walking. Nora, what you and your kids lived through, that wasn't your fault. She looked away. You don't know how complicated it is. Reaper stepped closer, voice gentler than anyone had heard from him in years. You don't have to go back. Nora's eyes filled. Where would we go? I have no money, no family, no home. And if he finds us, he won't, Reaper said quietly. Nora wiped her tears. Reaper, why are you helping us? Really? Reaper took a deep breath. Because once, I wished someone had helped me before I lost everything. Nora's lips trembled. I'm sorry about your family. Reaper nodded. I can't fix what happened, but I can stop another family from breaking. And then Nora stepped closer, not romantically, not desperately, but with gratitude that felt pure and painful. Thank you, she whispered. Reaper swallowed hard. He wasn't used to being thanked, not like this. The danger, Aritu stank, came jogging out of the gatehouse. His face was serious, eyes sharp. Reaper, we've got a problem. Reaper straightened immediately. What is it? Tank held up a cracked phone. It's the guy from the gas station. Nora's husband. Nora's face went pale. No, please no. Tank continued. He's been asking around town. He knows Nora is with the angels, and he's coming here today. Nora grabbed her chest, panic rising. Reaper, he's dangerous. He'll hurt the kids. Hell, Reaper placed a hand on her arm. He won't get near you. But Reaper's voice turned to steel. Nora. I promised Leo I'd be here in the morning, and I promised you I wouldn't let him hurt you again. Nora stared at him, breath trembling. And I'm keeping that promise. The SHOWWN 2 hours later, a dented blue truck pulled up outside the gate. The drunk husband, Marcus, staggered out, shouting, Where's my wife? Where are my kids? This ain't over. Tank and 3 bikers stood by the gate. stone silent. Move. The man yelled. They're mine. She's mine. Reaper stepped out of the clubhouse. The entire club followed behind him. River Ace, Tank, chains, Bulldog, a wall of leather, steel, tattoos, an unwavering loyalty. Nora watched through the window, trembling. Leo and Lily clung to her. Reaper walked until he was standing right in front of the man. No, Reaper said calmly. They're not yours anymore. The man laughed hysterically. Oh, you're gonna fight me for them, biker? You think you're the hero? Reaper didn't blink. You laid hands on them. You terrorized them. You broke their home. Reaper stepped closer, eyes burning. You don't own people, especially not the ones you hurt. The man raised his fist. Reaper didn't move. You want to throw that punch? Go ahead, but you throw it at me, not at your wife, not at your kids. The man swung. Reaper caught his fist mid-air. Everyone heard the crack. Reaper twisted his arm, pushed him to the dirt, and held him there. This ends today, Reaper growled. You leave them alone. You don't show your face again, or I bring the whole club with me. Understand? The man cried out in pain. Say it. Reaper barked. I'll leave them alone, I swear. Reaper shoved him away. The man stumbled to his truck, holding his arm, shaking in fear. He didn't look back as he sped away. The gates slammed shut. It was over. Forever. The aftermath, and the new BGI Nonyan Genera burst into tears. Hands shaking, Reaper stepped inside the safe room. Leo ran to him first. Did you save us again? He asked. Reaper knelt, placing his big hand on the boy's head. No, kid, this time, you saved yourselves. You and your mum. Lily hugged his leg tightly. Nora stood there, tears falling, voice breaking. You didn't just protect us. You gave us something we never had. Reaper looked up. And what's that? A chance. Nora stepped forward. A real family. Reaper's throat tightened. He had lost his family years ago, lost everything he cared about. But in helping them, something inside him healed too. Leo looked up. Reaper, yeah kid, can we stay? Not forever, but just until Mum gets a job and we find a place. Reaper glanced at Nora. Nora nodded softly. If it's not too much. Reaper put a hand on Leo's shoulder. You can stay as long as you need. This place, it's your home now. Leo threw his arms around him. Lily, Nora cried quietly, and for the first time in many years, Reaper hugged them back. Final emotional ending. The club's GIFT 2 weeks later. On a warm evening, the entire Hells Angels chapter gathered around the picnic tables. Tank brought burgers, River grilled steaks, and Lily ran around with a balloon Bulldog gave her. Nora sat beside Reaper, smiling a smile she thought she had forgotten how to make. Leo came running up with a leather vest in his hands. Mom, look what they made for me. The vest was small, custom-sized, with a patch on the back. Angel's family, little brother. Nora gasped. Reaper placed a smaller vest on the table beside her. For Lily, Nora felt her knees weaken. Reaper, this is too much. It's not a patch, Reaper said. It's a promise. He looked at her, eyes deep with sincerity. You and your kids will never be alone again. Nora's hands shook as she held the vest. You gave us something we never had, she whispered again. Reaper nodded. And you gave me something I thought I lost forever. What? She whispered. A family to protect. Nora leaned her head on his shoulder. Not romantic, not rushed, but with a peace she had never known. River raised a beer bottle. To the new family. The bikers roared. Lily giggled. Leo puffed out his chest proudly. Nora closed her eyes, letting the warmth of the moment sink into her bones. Reaper looked at them, this once broken family, and felt something in his chest move for the first time in years. Hope. Before you go, hit subscribe to Bikers Hype. Like and share this story with your friends. And if you truly love Hells Angels, then prove your love. Share this video and help us reach our 1,000 subscribers target.